Welcome back to the Kosi Arsenal channel. My name is Kosi. Welcome back to a brand new video. Mikel Arteta has just outclassed Carlo Ancelotti in the UEFA Champions League across 180 minutes. And Carlo Ancelotti's men did not have any answers to the questions Arsenal asked. In this video, we're going to be diving into the genius of Mikel Arteta, how he did it, but most importantly, what we have learned about this Arsenal side. And as we go into the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League, why Arsenal now, over the night, seem favorites, why we are one of the favorites to win the Champions League. Obviously, if you're in the semi-finals, you are a favorite to win it. There's no question about that. But this Arsenal side have got some interesting elements that we've got to talk about that make them very, very different and outstanding as well. The first thing I think we've got to talk about is Mikel Arteta's defense. He's built a machine that is so hard to go against and score. That is one of the things that have made Arsenal very, very scary across Europe. I think we have had so many names that people have given to Mikel Arteta, Tony Pulis, Sean Dyche, all those names, and they signify how difficult it is to score against Arsenal. Now, in the Premier League, this seems a little bit useless. I mean, it's okay. Arsenal are really difficult to score against, but in the Premier League, we are playing predominantly opponents that are expected to be beaten by Arsenal. So building a 100 or 200 or 300 million pound defense really doesn't make a lot of sense in the Premier League. And that's why Mikel Arteta has been criticized for adding defender after defender after defender after defensive midfielder after defensive midfielder. And people have been asking, why is he doing this? Why is he buying players in defensive positions every single summer? Why is he building a defense? You've got to go and create an attack that is going to help you win the Premier League, score goals against these smaller teams, and help you win the Premier League. I think we have all seen what Mikel Arteta's vision is. This season, just to give you, to give you a picture, Arsenal have not conceded 3 goals in a single game. Not in the UEFA Champions League, not in the Premier League. And that tells you everything you need to know about why Madrid couldn't score against Arsenal. It wasn't about, Arsenal do not have Ben White and Arsenal don't have Gabriel Magalhaes and therefore they're finished. Mikel Arteta has slowly but surely built this defense in that it is so reliable regardless of who is, at the back. And that's why the players like Zinchenko are no longer playing for Arsenal, and that's why players that you can't trust and Mikel Arteta can't trust are no longer part of the team. He has built a defense that is reliable, but most importantly, a defense that he can trust, right? And Real Madrid, I looked at them in the first game. They didn't have anything against Arsenal. They couldn't go past Saliba, they couldn't go past Kivior, they couldn't go past Timber, they couldn't go past Lewis Kelly. And this is not our best defensive line, for Christ's sake. Our best defensive line would have Ben White at right back, Julian Timber at left back, and at centre back, Gabriel and William Saliba. But Madrid couldn't, really couldn't do anything against what you would say is the phase 2 of Arsenal's defense without the creme de la creme. And in the UEFA Champions League, Mikel noticed that you don't have to go and win every game 7-0. What if you could make it very difficult for opponents to score against you, and then you go and score 1 or 2 goals across 180 minutes, you score 3 goals and you concede 1 or 2, you're through. And that's what Arsenal are doing. We concede 1 in the first leg, we concede 1 in the second leg, those are 2 goals, and we've got the ability to go and score 3 with Saka on the pitch, Martinelli, Trossard. This team is not going to score 5, 6, 7 goals every single game, but they've got the ability to score 3 goals across 180 minutes. So Mikel Arteta's genius, is now seen 5 years, 6 years later, after him building a defense that no one can go through. Madrid looked confused, but they're not the only team. Manchester City, when we beat them 5-1, Liverpool, Chelsea, they've all looked confused, when they played Arsenal this season. So that's the first thing we have seen with Mikel Arteta in the last 180 minutes in the UEFA Champions League. Do whatever you can, but you're not scoring 3 goals against this Arsenal defense. Is one of the best, if not the best, in Europe right now. But the other thing that we've learned about Mikel Arteta, the second one, is he requires immense hard work, and it has just paid off. It has absolutely paid off in the UEFA Champions League. Now, I want to say this. In the league, again, hard work is important, but you might not keep up the same energy levels throughout 38 games. You might not be able to do that. In the Champions League, though, it's a little bit different, right? You have the group stages, or you have the table format now, the league format. As long as you do enough to get yourself into the knockout stages, then you have the round of 16, quarterfinals, semifinals, and the final. You have 4 phases. That is where that's where the hard work now actually comes in, because as long as you can work harder than your opponent in 180 minutes, basically you can beat them. And that's what Arsenal are doing across the Champions League. We have worked harder than PSV and we annihilated them. We have worked harder than Real Madrid, and we have dissolved them into a team that is unrecognizable in front of their own fans and in front of our own fans as well. So the hard work is not a mistake. And this is why I'm saying this video is about the genius of Mikel Arteta. This hard work is not a mistake. This hard work is through the recruitment of Mikel. He has been picking his players one by one, and the profiles have been right. Declan Rice, immense energy. This guy has energy. Saliba, energy. Partey, energy. Saka, energy. Odegaard, energy. Ben White, energy. So we've got an immense number of players that have got immense energy. And that energy translated into UEFA Champions League nights, you let that energy bleed into the night. Some of these teams really don't stand a chance. Like, I looked at PSV and I'm like, they are really bad. And I know there's so many times when a team is too good and we look at the opponent and we're like, they have been bad. And I've been a culprit of that. I've been looking at this Manchester City team, putting in a lot of hard work, putting in a lot of energy, and it's like, oh my God, these teams are so bad against Manchester City. Maybe the teams are not so bad. Maybe Manchester City have been so good. And that's what we are seeing against Arsenal. The opponents we are playing are not so bad. Arsenal are suffocating these teams. Arsenal are just good. And what we're doing, basically, is we are allowing energy to bleed onto the field. We're allowing energy to, diffuse into the context of these games. And, the opponents are mind blown. That is what is happening. So why Mikel Arteta is a genius for me is this. Football has changed, right? And the profiles that we used to enjoy, Ronaldinho, these kind of players that you could have the ball and everyone would get mesmerized. Thierry Henry, Daniel Henry, Rudy Van Nistelrooy, Cristiano Ronaldo. These kind of players are kind of dying out, right? And football has become more about systems and has become more about profiles. And Mikel Arteta has looked at this and has gone, in the next 3, 4, 5 years, if I build a technically able team that is really highly built, we can dominate football. And that is what Manchester City have done over the last 2, 3 years. Look at Josko Gvardiol coming in. Look at Erling Haaland coming in. Pep Guardiola himself is going away from the small, tiny Bernardo Silvas of this world to the to the giant Haalands of this world, right? He's chasing Julian Alvarez, chasing Gabriel Jesus, the tiny technical strikers, to going with a behemoth in Erling Haaland, right? So that energy and that hard work is just so hard for teams to keep up with. And Ancelotti looked like he didn't have any answers. He really didn't have any answers. And I think if you were any manager on the other side, you didn't have any answers, really. Because I'll give you an example. When Arsenal played Manchester United, it was at the Emirates, wasn't it? The last game that ended 1-1. Manchester United played a lot of energy in that game, that the only answers Arsenal had were through David Raya. If it weren't for David Raya in that game, no way Arsenal get a point. No way Arsenal get a point. And that's the point I'm talking about. You bring that kind of energy in the UEFA Champions League and you know that you have 3 games to go in order for you to be a champion, teams are really going to suffer with you. Now, Arsenal have a lot of energy, but then the third point is also crucial. The discipline of Mikel Arteta's men. Now, yes, Thomas Partey picked up a yellow card and it was absolutely stupid. It was stupid. Like, of all yellow cards Partey could have picked up, that was a bad yellow card. And of all games that could cause Partey to pick up a yellow card, that was a bad game. Because Madrid literally had nothing to do with that game. It was all about Arsenal. Arsenal made a mistake and we conceded. Arsenal missed the penalty. Arsenal scored 2 beautiful goals. So it was all about Arsenal. And why Partey picked up a yellow card in that game, God knows. He misses the next match, but God knows why he's on a yellow, right? But the discipline that I'm talking about is not red cards and yellow cards. I know many people are going to say, Kosi, what are you talking about? We've got so many yellow cards, red cards in this campaign. Trossard has got 1, Saliba has got 1, Rice has got 1, Lewis Kelly has got two red cards already this season. What are you talking about discipline? That is not the discipline I'm talking about, right? The discipline I'm talking about is this Arsenal team sitting in a good structure and telling anyone out there, come and break us down, right? You know, when you watch City or when you watch a team like Madrid or Barca, one of the reasons as to why they will always penetrate through defenses and midfields is the other team will eventually lose its discipline. The other team will eventually lose its resolve. And I kind of feel like Real Madrid were banking on that for like to some extent, that they will come and bring the game to Arsenal and pile pressure and pile pressure and pile pressure until we are suffocated and broken down. They were wrong. This Arsenal team is a disciplined machine. Like, Partey is going to track you for 90 minutes. And when Partey loses his man, Declan Rice is going to step in. Julian Timber is going to track you for 90 minutes. And when Timber loses his man, Saliba is going to step up. How many times yesterday did you see William Saliba bail out Jakub Kiwior? Like, just think about it. How many times? And that is what I'm talking about. This Arsenal side, we are when we are compact and we are in shape, we are so good. You can't break us down defensively. And when we are on the field tilt and Arsenal are in possession, right? Because Madrid could have easily sat back, waited for Arsenal to drop the ball, lose possession and catch us on the break, right? Good luck with that. But Arsenal, that is where the discipline comes in. We have so many good players that take care of the ball. When we are in possession, good luck winning it back. When we are out of possession, good luck breaking us down. And that's the discipline that we displayed against Real Madrid. And Madrid were like, do we sit back and catch them on the break? They don't lose the ball, right? So we've got to fight for the ball. And when Madrid fought for the ball and won it back, they're like, how do we break them down? You just can't break them down. You just can't, play through this Arsenal team. And of course, I want to say this. The profiles that Real Madrid have are different from a team like FC Barca, because Barca have got Dani Olmo, they've got a Pedri, they've got a player like Lamine Yamal, they've got a player like Rafinha. These are very different profiles, and I kind of feel like in terms of talent and stars or stardom, Madrid have really many stars. But in terms of that brilliance, just that brilliance on the ball, I kind of feel like Barca are a better side. Not because I love Barca, but look at Pedri and look at Dani Olmo. They've got the ability to cut through an Arsenal team. I mean, at least to try. But Camavinga, Tchouameni, Bellingham against Arsenal, there was no way. And I think that discipline really beat Real Madrid. Now, Mikel Arteta as well, I think we've got to give him credit as well. He has put together a disciplined team, but it is not without talent, right? It's not without talent. I think I remember one of the pundits saying it was PSG versus Real Madrid, right? And one of the pundits said, Kylian Mbappe is really talented, but Sergio Ramos is too talented as well. I think it was Rory Jennings actually. And I think that reflects onto this Arsenal side. Like, we are so disciplined, we are tall, we are huge, we are technical, but we are talented. The team is so talented. And this is again back to the recruitment of Mikel Arteta. Again, he didn't buy Saliba, but I want us to just look at players that are just naturally talented into this team. Saka, natural talent. Odegaard, natural talent. Declan, natural talent. Partey, natural talent. Ethan Nwaneri, natural talent. Timber, natural talent. Skelly, natural talent. So this team is so talented and we work as a team, right? But what we saw yesterday was also Arsenal players just relying on their talent, just relying on their personal individual elements to win you the game. Very good example is that, trademark run of Gabriel Martinelli. We know he does that. He's done that against Chelsea. He's done that before. And the talent makes it so difficult for these other teams to cope up with this. And the last thing I want to talk about is the mentality. We've talked about the mentality of this team for a long time. And even this season, we have crumbled, right? And maybe the semi-finals are different, right? But the mentality of this Arsenal team is so different, especially against Madrid, right? What we saw and what we have seen is an Arsenal team that are willing to go and believe that Madrid have nothing against them. Now, we did crumble against Manchester United in the FA Cup, and that was bizarre because United are one of the worst teams in the league. But if you've followed Arsenal closely, you will understand why we have not beaten Manchester United in the last two games. Because United have just come to play a big game, and they've played a lot of energy in these games, right? And when you look at Arsenal, that's what we've done against Madrid as well, and these other big teams. But the mentality for us to go at the Santiago Bernabeu and believe and play our game, I think if this is translated into the Parc des Princes and also translated into German, it's gonna be a hell of a final. So let me know if you agree with me that Mikel Arteta has really improved Arsenal, and if you think my points are actually valid.